Howdy, folks. I'm Alex Simons. I'm the U15 Typhoon head coach at Sudden Impact Volleyball in Bellevue, Washington. And this is the third episode in my ongoing series of applying ecological dynamics and differential learning techniques to coaching in volleyball. The whole purpose of this is to share kind of what I'm doing and learning, what kinds of feedback I'm getting, build maybe a little community. I've already gotten quite a few cool suggestions and comments from people, so really appreciate all the input so far. And hopefully, more of you will get to see this, and we can all just get a community going, learning together. So this week I got a cold, so I apologize if I sound a little squeaky. Hopefully won't drive you too crazy. Okay, so for those of you who saw my previous video, you'll recall that we're in the middle of a 6-week training block. All we have in this block is 2 Power League weekends. We have no qualifiers or anything in February, so that's great. I'm taking advantage of it to work on both kind of short and long-term learnings. We just had our Power League #1 last weekend. The team played really well. We went 3-1 for the day, and we're moving up to Flight 1. It's a U15 playing in the U16, so playing some pretty tough competition for us. We served really tough. We had 43 aces to only 26 errors, so I was really thrilled with that. And 87% of our serves were in, so they were serving pretty flat and fast, and did a nice job of keeping it in the court. Especially at this age, that's pretty damn good. Our attacking improved a lot from the previous 2 weekends ago when we were at our MLK Day tournament. So we ended the weekend hitting 200 versus only 0.09 the previous weekend. 2 weekends previous. So nice improvements there. And then looking in ball time at our attack tendencies, we definitely started attacking more seam and line. Still not enough, but more seam and line than we have before. So I feel like some of the activities that we're doing are starting to show up in the real game. So that was cool. We struggled with passing. Like our passing against 2 of the teams was really rough. They were serving pretty flat and fast, and a number of the kids had drop serves. And so we just really struggled, especially with the drop serves. That was tough. And then the flat and fast ones, when they were kind of like right at our sternum, we didn't know how to pass those. So more work to do there. Not surprising. That was an area that even at the MLK tournament was a problem for us, and we're just continue to work on that. And then the last team that we played, the Puyallup Juniors, they had one really savvy little outside hitter. She got 18 of their 18 kills, and 6 of them, I think, 6 of them were tips. So she really ran us ragged with her toolbox, but particularly with tipping. And then we also, they were much better in transition than we were. We outscored them on first ball side out in terms of efficiency, but she was really good in trans and just kind of fearless about going up and hitting off the block, and had a bunch of different tools and stuff. So it was fun to see her do that, and gave us some stuff that we need to keep working on for this week. So my focus areas this week, we had 3 practices this week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The first thing we've been spending a bunch of time on is looking back at the previous videos and the drills that we're running. And so my assistants and I were noticing that at U15, the kids have a pretty tough time keeping their focus for any extended period, particularly if they're not actively involved in playing. So even like when we're playing games to 5, win by 2, the team that's sitting out on that's just too long. Like they might have to go 10 points or 12 points, and so that's too long. So we made a bunch of changes this week where drills were still competitive, but instead of being sit out for a period of time kind of drills, we ran them all as wave drills. And that worked much, much better. I'll show you some of those, but that kept them much more engaged. They were on the court a lot more frequently. They really, I thought the level of kind of focus and intensity and energy was way higher in wave drills. So that was a nice improvement. My assistant, Grace, suggested that as an improvement, and it really worked. The setters, making a lot of improvements. Our setters are both improving pretty quickly. One of them, our setter, the one who's kind of setter #1 right now, there's not a huge difference, but setter #1, she and I watched a bunch of videos of her setting from the up in ball time from the previous weekend, not from the previous, from this weekend, and talked a lot about tempo. She's placing the ball really well, but sometimes she's setting kind of a set that's like 1.3, almost 1.4 seconds. And we'd really like it to be quite a bit faster, kind of in the 1.2 second range. So she and I spent a bunch of time talking about what that looks like and where the top of the antenna is and things like that that she was going to concentrate on this week. The other setter, we're still working on, hey, you're let's just do simple things. We don't have to jack it back across the whole court. And she's actually quite an athlete and pretty strong, but she just doesn't realize that she can send the ball a long ways without having to like really force it or wind up or anything. She's been winding up, I think, is the way I would describe it. So again, we talked a lot about the Kate Lang from Hawaii and having a very consistent, simple setting pattern, and it continues. She continues to improve by doing that, so that's great. Both of them, we also watched. One of the things I wanted to work on this week was getting them more aggressive in the front row. The setter one hardly ever does anything when she's front row. The setter two is very aggressive, but makes some kind of wonky choices. So I pulled a bunch of video clips of LMA Powell setting from the year that I coached at University of Washington, and not setting, actually attacking. And so we watched those together, like 25 clips of different kinds of attack options that they could try out watching LMA do it. Passing this week, same thing. We're working on short and deep serves. We didn't have any troubles with we didn't have as much trouble with our 1-6 seam this time. So I'm mostly going to focus on, can we pass deep, hard, high deep serves and short serves. Got to just keep working on that. Our attacking, since we were not great out of system this last weekend, I'm going to go back and do some more out of system attacking work. We always spend a ton of time at the beginning of the season on that because 15s can't really pass early in the season. But I want to go back and spend some more time working on out of system. We're continuing to work on our second and third step tempo. Range for our pin hitters. Can they go line? Can they go sharp? Can they go deep corner? Can they go deep seam? Things like that. The middles this week, we were focused on, hey, stay back off the net, hit for the corners. But then this is also a week where we introduced running slides attacks for the first time. They had a good time with that. Blocking, same as last week, just press over and direct the ball. And then continuing to work on kind of jam ball situations. The ball is high up at the net, and can we get up and be aggressive rather than waiting for it to just fall on the floor. So those were kind of the focus areas for this week. Several of you asked about, hey, do I use a whiteboard? What do I do? How do I keep track of practice? So I was like, okay, well, hey, I'll just show you. This was the whiteboard for Thursday's practice. You can see what, pretty typical. We just laid out all of the activities that we were hoping to get done for the day. Sometimes we get through all of them, sometimes we don't. I'm not really too wedded to finishing it. I just have like an order of things that we're going to go through. And I also put in like all of the constraints for each one. So if you look, you can see like there are bonus points and things like that in this. So anyway, so that's my whiteboard for Thursday practice. With that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things we ran this week. Okay, so first drill we ran was a version of exchange with a big constraint in it. So this is 4-on-4 exchange. So lots of opportunities for kids to touch the ball, all the right elements in place. But the constraint in this case is that on the third touch, you can't jump. So you can't really jump and swing on the third touch. If you want to win the point, you got to be aggressive and jump and swing on the second point. I like this a lot because it encourages the kids to get up and swing hard at what might not be great sets. You can see as they're doing it here that they take some crazy swings, a whole bunch of different things they try out and variability. I like that a lot. And they get really aggressive, especially kind of two of our outside hitters, they'll try anything. So I really like that in terms of getting them more swings and getting them to think about, hey, there's a lot more things you can swing at and score than maybe they realize. And hopefully that'll help our out of system game.
Next up, we did baby court, but we did some more modifications compared to last week. So this week we did baby court, and we made the court a little bit bigger. So it's a 15 by 15 court now. We changed the number of players to be 4 instead of 2. We put in a no spike rule, so you have to do something besides spiking. And we talked about how this was, we wanted to work on power tips and dumps and jams and whatever else they wanted to do, knock it off the block, whatever, to try to get better at these kind of jam ball situations. And we ran it as a wave drill this week rather than as games to 5 win by 2. I would say across the board, all the changes worked better. By having 4 kids on the court, we were able to have passers, a setter, and an attacker. So they had like a more realistic setup to be able to go try some stuff. They really liked the wave drill style instead of having 4 kids sitting out for maybe 3 or 4 minutes waiting for someone to win a game to 5. They were constantly in and out of the court, so they seemed to like that a lot. And I went back and as I was watching the video, I have to say during practice, I wasn't so sure how well it was working, but as I watched the video afterward, there were a remarkable number of times when kids were trying tips or roll shots or throws or dunks or things that probably quite a bit more than last week in the 2x2. Now, so it could be their skills improving, or it could just be this set of constraints works better. But anyway, I like this set of constraints a lot. I felt like it got them doing what they needed to work on. It was really cool. Okay, next up, we played Monarch. This is us. We do this with a setter, a middle, and a libero that are dedicated on one side, and on the other side, on both sides, we have a setter, middle, libero, and then the pin hitters are waving through in groups of 2. So it's really a 5 versus 5 game when they're playing. When you win on your side, all 5 players wave through. The kids love it. It's our standard warm-up drill. We get a ton of pass and serve doing this. And then I get to put in bonus points for whatever I'm wanting to work on this week. This week, we were really working on tipping. So we worked on we gave them bonus points. So a bonus point for every time you got a kill off of a tip, both because I want them to get better tipping. We hardly tip at all, but also because we got to see that more and make sure we know how to defend against a tip. If you watch the video close, you'll see there were quite a few instances where they did a really nice job on it. The other thing we were doing is I was talking to them ahead of time, the servers in particular, about, hey, let's make sure we serve a lot of short and deep. And you can see as you watch the video, quite a few short serves and some pretty challenging deep serves as well. So I thought that was great. This drill went great this week. They really got what they needed out of it. A lot of experimentation with new attack types. Then last up, we did 6 versus 6, but we used ace ball style scoring. So in ace ball scoring, the serving team can only serve if they get an ace. I like this constraint because it means the serving team has to serve super aggressive, like they got to really go after it. And then the team that's receiving, they can do whatever. They can do their normal things. We gave them, like the rest of practice, we gave them a bonus point if they got a tip kill, because that's what we wanted to be working on. This week we changed the way the game worked though. So last week we were doing it as a one-way drill, and we noticed that later in, they would do like 5 serves in a row and then switch and do 5 serves in a row. And we noticed that later in the 5 serve kind of series, they were getting more and more kind of disconnected and distracted. So this time we just changed it and we said, okay, great, we'll just do normal kind of rally scoring, let's call it. So the serving side could still only get a point when they got an ace, and the other side got a side out. They scored everything, they got a side out. But we just played a game to 12, so it wasn't like 5 serves in a row. It was just normal volleyball back and forth, with the constraint of you have to serve an ace. I just think this drill is working really well for us. We're getting a ton of tough serves. If you watch the video close, you'll see there was a lot of short serving going on, which is exactly what we needed. I kept running around reminding people, hey, remember today we're running short. We're trying to serve short and deep, short and deep, short and deep. And it really worked. They served a lot of deep, tough stuff. They served a lot of short stuff, a lot more variety than we normally get, and really aggressive serving. So I thought this activity was really, really successful in terms of just repetition without repetition, right? Like again and again and again, lots of short serves that we had to figure out what to do with, lots of deep right at our sternum, and then obviously the hitters had a chance to get a lot of points tipping, which is what we wanted to work on. So really good, liked it. Here, watch the end of it, and then we're done. So that was it for this week. I actually forgot to run the camera on Monday, so I can't show you the videos from Monday, but all the ones we just saw were from Thursday. I thought they worked pretty well. I really like the refinements we're making. We're getting the kids more engaged. I'm starting to really see them exploring behaviors, and those are showing up in our matches. So pretty excited about that. And then we scrimmaged our 16s team on Saturday. I could definitely see we got a ton more line attacks. We served really, really tough. And we did not have too much trouble passing against them, which was great. The last time they just kind of ran us off the court. So I'm definitely seeing the positive impact of a lot of the stuff that we're doing. Like always, I really want to thank my assistants, Grace and Jeff. They're awesome in terms of suggesting ideas for how we can make all these activities better and keep the kids more engaged and new constraints and stuff like that. So they're really putting up with a lot of weirdness, and I love it, appreciate it. This week, Bart Foley, he's one of our long-term club coaches, stopped in the gym too, so he was working the middle. So Bart, thanks for coming by. It was great to have you in the gym. Looking forward to having you a lot more times. And then just to everybody who watched and sent me suggestions and feedback, thanks. Keep them coming. I am definitely I feel like I'm getting more effective, and these practices and activities are improving week by week, based on the things that we're doing to modify them. And a lot of that's due to your input. So thanks a ton. Really appreciate it. And hope to hear from you this week too.